The sky was clear and bright over Earth, but that peaceful day was about to change forever. Suddenly, massive ships appeared in the atmosphere, darkening the sun and casting eerie shadows over cities. People looked up in shock, their faces pale with fear. Alarms rang out everywhere, and panic spread like wildfire as the news hit. An enormous alien fleet was invading. The world had never seen anything like it. These ships were enormous, far larger than any human-made vehicle. They floated silently, like dark clouds that had come to steal the sunshine. Within minutes, chaos erupted. Streets filled with frantic crowds running for safety, while others stood frozen in disbelief. Cars crashed as drivers abandoned them, desperate to escape the impending doom. In the midst of this chaos stood Captain Alex Rider. He was not just any soldier, he was Earth's strongest human. Known for his incredible strength and bravery, Rider had dedicated his life to protecting his home. He had faced many dangers before, but nothing could prepare him for the sight before him. With his sharp blue eyes, he surveyed the scene, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. While governments scrambled to respond to the invasion, Rider knew he had to act. He gathered a small team of soldiers and civilians who trusted him. They were the bravest among them, united by a shared determination to defend Earth. Rider addressed his team, his voice steady and strong. "We may be outnumbered, but we will not back down. We must protect our home, no matter the cost." Meanwhile, the alien fleet sent a message that echoed across the globe. Their commander, General Kale, had a voice that was both chilling and powerful. He demanded Earth's surrender within 24 hours or face total destruction. He warned that any resistance would be met with ruthless force. Rider's heart raced. Kale's presence was overwhelming, and he could feel the fear in the air. But surrender was not an option. Rider's determination only grew stronger. He stood up in front of a group of frightened people and raised his fist. "I will challenge this alien commander. If he wants a fight, I will give it to him." The crowd gasped at his boldness. Some cheered, while others worried for his safety. Rider knew the risk, but he felt it was the only way to give humanity a fighting chance. As Rider prepared for the fight, he knew he needed to be ready. He trained harder than ever, pushing himself to the limits. Each punch, each lift made him stronger. Memories of past battles flooded his mind. He remembered the sacrifices made by his friends and fellow soldiers. They had fought bravely, and he could not let them down. News of Rider's challenge spread quickly. People around the world began to believe in him. They painted signs and waved flags, calling him their hero. The weight of their hope rested heavily on him, but it also fueled his fire. Rider knew he could not let them down. As the sun set on the eve of the battle, Rider stood alone in the training grounds, looking up at the stars. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill his lungs. "I fight not just for myself, but for every person on this planet," he whispered. "I will not let fear win." The day of the duel arrived. Rider's heart pounded as he faced the alien fleet, now hovering ominously above the Earth. General Kale stood on the main ship, his piercing red eyes locked onto Rider. The crowd on Earth watched with bated breath, hoping for a miracle. Rider stepped forward, the weight of his armor heavy on his shoulders. He could hear the whispers of the people behind him, their hopes and fears mingling in the air. As he looked up at the intimidating fleet, he felt a surge of determination. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the very soul of humanity. The battle was about to begin, and Rider was ready to face the might of the alien fleet. With his fists clenched and his spirit unyielding, he prepared to make his stand against General Kale, determined to show the universe that humanity would not go quietly into the night. Earth's strongest human was ready for war, and he would fight with every ounce of strength he had. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and Rider was determined to turn the tide. The invasion had begun, but so too had the fight for humanity's survival. After the shocking invasion of the alien fleet, Captain Alex Rider knew that the time to act was now. The challenge had been issued, and the entire world was watching. Rider understood that if he was going to stand a chance against General Kale and his powerful forces, he had to prepare like never before. In the days leading up to the duel, Rider dedicated himself to training. Every morning he rose with the sun, his heart filled with determination. He pushed his body to the limits, lifting heavy weights and running long distances. Each drop of sweat reminded him of the stakes. He knew he was not just fighting for himself, he was fighting for the people of Earth. As he trained, He couldn't shake the thoughts of the families and friends of those who had been affected by the invasion. He pictured the terrified faces of children and the worried expressions of parents. With each punch he threw, he envisioned defending them. This motivation pushed him forward, fueling his desire to become stronger. Ryder also sought help from his closest allies. He gathered a team of skilled fighters and resourceful scientists, creating a small army of brave souls who believed in his cause. Together, they met in a hidden underground bunker away from the chaos above. The atmosphere was serious, but there was also a spark of hope. Ryder stood at the front of the room, looking at the faces of his team. "We have to work together if we're going to beat the alien fleet," he said firmly. "I may be their chosen champion, but I can't do this alone. We need a plan, and we need it fast." The scientists quickly sprang into action, brainstorming ideas to help Ryder. They studied the alien technology, analyzing what they had learned from the invading ships. One of the scientists, Dr. Emily Tran, pointed to a holographic display showing the alien vessels. "These ships are strong, but they have weaknesses. We can exploit them if we're clever," she said with excitement. Ryder listened closely as Dr. Tran explained how the alien ships relied on a central power source. "If we can disrupt their energy supply during the battle, we can weaken their defenses," she suggested. The room buzzed with energy as the team discussed strategies and tactics. As the planning continued, Ryder trained with his team, sharing his combat skills with them. He showed them how to work together, how to use their strengths to cover each other's weaknesses. They practiced different fighting styles and maneuvers, developing a rhythm that made them feel like one unit. The days turned into a blur of hard work and determination. Ryder felt the support of his team pushing him forward, giving him strength. He often caught himself thinking about what would happen if he failed. The thought of Earth falling into the hands of General Kale was unbearable. It only made him train harder. But it wasn't all about physical strength. Ryder understood that he needed to be mentally prepared, too. He spent quiet moments reflecting, focusing on his purpose. He imagined the faces of his loved ones and the world he wanted to protect. Each visualization gave him clarity and resolve. As the day of the duel approached, the tension in the bunker grew. Ryder could feel the pressure building. His team was counting on him, and the weight of that responsibility was heavy. But he refused to let fear control him. He reminded himself that they were all in this together. On the night before the duel, Ryder gathered his team one last time. They sat in a circle, sharing their fears and hopes. It was a moment of bonding, where they all realized they were fighting not just for survival, but for each other. "No matter what happens tomorrow," Ryder said, looking each of them in the eyes, "we fight as one. Together we are stronger." As the group dispersed, Ryder felt a sense of calm wash over him. He knew the road ahead would be tough, but he felt ready. The time for training was over. Tomorrow, he would face General Kale and the entire alien fleet, standing as Earth's strongest human. With that thought in his mind, he lay down to rest, knowing that the battle for Earth was about to begin. The world was counting on him, and he would not let them down. As he closed his eyes, he dreamed of victory, ready to rise and fight for humanity's survival. The morning light broke over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the battlefield. Captain Alex Ryder stood at the center of the empty field, his heart pounding with anticipation. Today was the day he would face General Kale and the entire alien fleet. The world was watching, and he could feel their hopes resting on his shoulders. As Ryder prepared himself, he took a deep breath, focusing on the task ahead. He remembered his training, the sweat and hard work he had put in over the last few days. He was not alone in this fight. He had his team behind him, supporting him in spirit. With determination burning in his chest, he stepped forward, ready to make history. Above him, the alien ships hovered ominously in the sky. They were huge, their dark silhouettes blocking out the sun. Ryder could feel the power emanating from them, but he refused to be intimidated. Instead, he looked up, a fire igniting in his eyes. The alien commander, General Kale, would soon show himself. As if on cue, a beam of light shot down from the lead alien ship, illuminating the area around Ryder. The light flickered, and from it emerged General Kyle, tall and imposing. His skin glowed with a faint green hue, and his sharp features were both regal and menacing. Ryder could see the confidence in Kale's eyes, but he stood tall, refusing to show any signs of fear. "Human!" Kale's voice boomed across the battlefield, echoing in Ryder's ears. "You dare challenge me? Your planet will fall before my might." The words dripped with arrogance, and the crowd on Earth held its breath. Ryder stepped forward, his voice steady. "I will fight for my people. I will not let you take our home." The determination in his words rang clear. He could feel the energy of the crowd behind him, their hopes fueling his courage. The duel began. Ryder charged forward, adrenaline pumping through his veins. He moved swiftly, using the skills he had practiced for days. As he closed the distance, he delivered a powerful punch aimed at Kale. But the alien commander was quick, dodging to the side with surprising agility. Ryder's fist connected with the ground, sending dirt flying. Kale smirked, his confidence unshaken. "You are strong, human, but strength alone will not save you." With that, he unleashed a blast of energy from his hands. Ryder barely had time to react as he leapt to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. The ground exploded where he had stood, sending rocks and debris flying. Ryder knew he had to change his strategy. He couldn't rely on brute force alone. He remembered Dr. Tran's advice about the alien ships and their energy core. If he could draw Kale into a trap, he might be able to exploit that weakness. As the duel continued, Ryder focused on evasion, waiting for the right moment. He darted around the battlefield, using his surroundings to hide from Kale's attacks. The alien general was relentless, firing energy blasts that sizzled through the air. Each time, Ryder dodged just in time, feeling the heat of the blasts on his skin. The crowd watched in awe, their excitement building with every move. They cheered for Ryder, their champion, as he danced around Kale, looking for an opening. The energy crackled in the air, and Ryder could feel the tension rising. Finally, after a fierce exchange of blows, Ryder saw his chance. He feigned a move to the left, causing Kale to overcommit. In a split second, Ryder pivoted, using his momentum to launch a powerful kick aimed at Kale's side. The kick connected, sending the alien staggering back. Ryder seized the moment, charging forward. "Now's my chance," he thought, focusing on the energy core he had seen during his training. With all his strength, he delivered a series of rapid punches, each one aimed at weakening Kale's defenses. The alien general grunted in pain, clearly caught off guard. But Kale was not done yet. Gathering his energy, he unleashed a shockwave that knocked Ryder off his feet. Ryder hit the ground hard, the impact shaking him. Pain coursed through his body, but he gritted his teeth, refusing to give in. He had to get back up. As he struggled to rise, he heard the voices of his team in his mind. They believed in him, and he couldn't let them down. With a surge of determination, he pushed himself to his feet. The crowd cheered, and he could see their faces, filled with hope. "Come on, Ryder," they shouted. "You can do this!" With renewed strength, Ryder faced General Kale once more. The duel was far from over, but he was ready to fight with everything he had. Today, he would show the world that Earth's strongest human would not back down. The battle raged on, and Ryder was determined to turn the tide in humanity's favor. The battle between Captain Alex Ryder and General Kale continued to rage on. Each clash of their powers sent shock waves through the air, and the tension was palpable. With every passing moment, Ryder felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He knew he was fighting not just for himself, but for every person on Earth. After recovering from Kale's shock wave, Ryder was back on his feet, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He had learned from his previous mistakes, and now he was more determined than ever. He realized he had to think strategically. The alien general was strong, but Ryder believed in the power of teamwork and the strength of the human spirit. Meanwhile, back at the command center on Earth, his team watched the duel unfold on giant screens. They were worried but also inspired. Dr. Emily Tran, along with other scientists and strategists, knew they had to act quickly. The fate of their planet rested on Ryder's shoulders, and they were not about to let him fight alone. "Alex is holding his ground," Emily said, her eyes glued to the screen. "But we need to do something to help him. We can't just sit here and watch." The others nodded in agreement. They began brainstorming ways to provide support from the ground, Emily suggested. "If we can tap into the energy readings from the alien ships, we might be able to disrupt their power systems remotely. It could weaken Kale's attacks." The team sprang into action. They quickly gathered all their resources and set to work, tapping into their advanced technology. They calculated the energy levels of the alien ships, noting their weak points. Every second counted as they worked feverishly, knowing that Ryder was in the thick of the fight. Back on the battlefield, Ryder was beginning to feel the toll of the duel. General Kale was relentless, and each blast of energy he sent out left Ryder gasping for breath. But he refused to back down. He remembered the faces of the people he was fighting for, his family, friends, and everyone who believed in him. As he dodged another one of Kale's energy blasts, he noticed a glimmer of light in the distance. It was faint but persistent. Ryder squinted, trying to make sense of it. Then it hit him. It was his team! They were working together, and he could feel their presence strengthening his resolve. Fueled by the thought of their support, Ryder summoned all his energy. He charged at Kale again, this time with renewed confidence. "I won't let you destroy my home!" he shouted as he launched himself at the alien general. He delivered a series of rapid punches, each one infused with the strength of his teammates' efforts back on Earth. General Kale staggered under the force of Ryder's assault. "You're a fool!" he growled, attempting to push back. But Ryder was relentless, focusing on his training and the knowledge that his team was working hard to give him an edge. At the command center, Emily and her team finally managed to hack into the alien fleet's power grid.
"We've done it!"
she exclaimed, eyes wide with excitement. "We can disrupt their energy systems. This will give Alex the opening he needs." They quickly relayed the information to Ryder through a communication device. "Alex, listen. We've figured out how to disrupt the alien ship's power. If you can keep Kale occupied, we can weaken him." Emily's voice rang through the device, clear and encouraging. Ryder's heart raced as he heard her words. "I can do this," he thought, knowing he now had the support he needed. Just keep him busy, he reminded himself. With the knowledge that his team was behind him, he pushed forward. Kale, still reeling from Ryder's attacks, sensed the shift in energy. "What is happening?" he shouted, clearly agitated. Ryder could see the alien general growing more frustrated with each passing moment.
"You are weak!"
Kale snarled, trying to regain his composure. But Ryder had a new strategy. He needed to bait Kale into attacking more aggressively. "Come on, Kale! Is that all you've got?" he taunted, dancing just out of reach of the general's energy blasts. He could see the alien's anger boiling over, and it was exactly what he wanted. With every insult, Ryder drew Kale's focus, keeping him distracted while Emily and her team worked on disrupting the alien fleet's energy core. Finally, as Kale prepared to unleash another powerful attack, Ryder saw his chance. "Now!" he shouted into his communicator, just as the scientists activated their plan. A wave of energy surged through the air, and suddenly the alien ships began to flicker. Ryder watched as Kale's energy blasts weakened, his movements becoming sluggish. "This is it!" Ryder thought, feeling a surge of hope. With the alien fleet now compromised, he charged at Kale with all his might. "Let's finish this!" The crowd back on Earth erupted into cheers as they witnessed their champion fighting with renewed vigor. Ryder felt invincible, fueled by the rising resistance of humanity. It was now or never, and he was ready to take down General Kyle once and for all. The fight was far from over, but Ryder knew they were on the brink of victory. After the incredible clash between Captain Alex Ryder and General Kale, the battlefield was charged with energy and anticipation. The air was thick with tension as both sides braced for what was about to come. Ryder stood firm, feeling a surge of adrenaline. He had faced Kale before, but this time things felt different. The alien general was wounded and angry, and Ryder could sense that he was more dangerous than ever. Kale glared at Ryder, his eyes blazing with fury. "You think you have won? This battle is far from over." He gathered energy around him, and the ground shook as he prepared for another powerful attack. Ryder knew he had to act quickly. He couldn't let Kale regain his strength. Ryder took a deep breath, focusing on the memories of all the people who believed in him, his family, friends, and the brave team back on Earth. He remembered Emily's voice encouraging him. "You have the heart of a warrior, Alex." With that thought in mind, he charged at Kale, determined to end this fight once and for all. As he sprinted forward, Ryder used all his training and strength. He dodged a massive energy blast from Kyle, feeling the heat as it whizzed past him. "You'll have to do better than that," he shouted, taunting the alien general. With each step, he drew closer, building momentum for a powerful strike. Kale retaliated with a flurry of attacks, sending out bolts of energy that lit up the sky. Ryder weaved and ducked, narrowly escaping each blast. He felt the pressure mounting, but he couldn't give up. He had to find a way to get inside Kale's defenses. Suddenly, Ryder remembered the vulnerability they had discovered during their earlier analysis of the alien fleet. If I can get him to overexert himself, I can exploit his weakness, he thought. With renewed focus, Ryder began to circle Kyle, taunting him and daring him to attack. Kyle, frustrated and enraged, took the bait. You think you can outsmart me, human? He unleashed a series of wild energy blasts, each one more powerful than the last. Ryder dodged them expertly, keeping his movements quick and light. He could see Kale's energy waning with each failed attack. Come on, Kale! Show me what you've got! Ryder shouted, pushing the alien general to his limits. Kale's face twisted in anger, and Ryder could see that he was starting to tire. This was his chance. Ryder made a bold move, launching himself into the air and executing a spinning kick aimed directly at Kale. The alien general barely managed to raise his hands in defense, but the impact of Ryder's kick sent him staggering backward. Ryder landed gracefully on his feet, heart racing with excitement. He could feel victory within reach. You are strong, human, Kale admitted grudgingly, wiping blood from his mouth. But strength alone won't save you. He raised his hands, channeling energy for one final devastating attack. The sky darkened, and a storm of energy crackled around him. Ryder knew he had to act fast. Emily, are you ready? He called out through the communicator. I need that backup now! Back at the command center, Emily and her team were frantically working on their strategy. We're ready, Alex. On your mark, she replied, determination shining in her voice. They had prepared a powerful energy pulse to disrupt Kale's attack, but they needed Ryder's signal to unleash it. As Kale prepared to unleash his ultimate blast, Ryder took a deep breath, focusing all his energy. Now, he yelled, and Emily activated their plan. A wave of energy surged from the command center, cascading toward the battlefield like a lightning bolt. The pulse struck Kale just as he unleashed his own energy blast. The two forces collided, creating a massive explosion that illuminated the night sky. The ground trembled beneath Ryder's feet, and he felt the shock wave knock him backward. But he quickly regained his footing, his eyes fixed on the chaos before him. Amid the swirling dust and smoke, Ryder saw Kyle struggling to maintain his balance. The alien general's energy was fading fast, and he was losing control. This was Ryder's moment. This ends now, he shouted, charging toward Kale with everything he had left. With one last burst of speed, Ryder closed the distance between them. He could feel the power of humanity and his team behind him, pushing him forward. With a fierce cry, he unleashed a final attack, a powerful punch that struck Kyle squarely in the chest. The impact sent shockwaves through the air, and Ryder felt a rush of energy as he connected. Kale's eyes widened in disbelief, and he staggered back, unable to withstand the force. No! He screamed, his voice filled with despair. As Kale fell to the ground, defeated, Ryder stood tall, breathless but triumphant. He had faced the alien general and emerged victorious. The cheers of the crowd echoed in his ears, and he felt a wave of relief wash over him. He had done it. He had protected his planet and shown the universe the strength of humanity. Back at the command center, Emily and her team erupted in joy. He did it! Ryder won! They cheered, celebrating their captain's victory. They had all played a part in this fight, and now they could finally breathe easy. Ryder looked out over the battlefield, feeling a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. He knew that this victory was just the beginning. Together, humanity had proven its strength, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The final confrontation was over, but the spirit of resistance burned bright in his heart. Ryder had become a symbol of hope, and he would continue to fight for a better future for all.